Let's talk about habits to glow up for summer and for life. In this video, I'm gonna dive into 7 different habits to help you transform the way that you look and the way that you feel. And I can tell you from experience that these things have changed my body and my life. Hey friend, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Jillz and I help women step into their power, tap into their divine feminine, and become their best self, live their best life. So if that's something you wanna do, you should subscribe and stick around. And if you're not on my newsletter, the Dream Life Digest, I highly recommend you join our inner circle. This is where we go a little bit deeper on all things feminine energy and manifestation and relationships and money and creating your dream life and stepping into your dream self. And it lands in your inbox every Tuesday. It's totally free. The link to sign up is down below. So let's get into it. There is something that some estheticians call sugar face. And that's basically where your face is a little bit puffier and more dull and sagging more than it should due to eating lots of sugar. And it really doesn't help you look like your most radiant self. And that is because sugar ages you at the cellular level. Now, I'm not saying to avoid all sugar, like fruit, for example. Fruit is very healthy. And honestly, having a slice of cake with your friends now and then is regulating in other ways that we need sometimes. But what I really want you to understand is that having stable blood sugar is a beauty practice. If you actually go back and look at pictures of myself when I was younger, when I ate a lot of processed foods and a lot of sugar and a lot of, those low quality carbs that spike your blood sugar, my face looked different. I mean, it's still me, but I looked different. There is a process called glycation where the sugar molecules attach to your collagen and essentially make it stiff and dull and less elastic over time. And having high blood sugar chronically, consistently, is breaking down the actual structure of your face and stealing from your radiance. Now, just to be clear, fruit has sugar, yes, but fruit also comes with fiber and water and micronutrients that slow the absorption of that sugar significantly. So your blood sugar doesn't spike in the same way, and a lot of fruit, for example, let's take strawberries, are actually very low glycemic and high in vitamin C, which supports collagen production and a pretty face. Or even if you have that fruit with a little bit of fat or a little bit of protein, there is virtually no blood sugar spike at all. However, a Starbucks drink with syrup and a muffin on an empty stomach, that becomes a huge sugar spike. That's a recipe for acne and inflammation. And if you do this enough, then your face starts becoming sugar face. And obviously your health is gonna decline in other ways as well. You know how before you get your period, you feel like you look at your face in the mirror and it just doesn't look as radiant? That's me right now, by the way, but I usually have less brightness and openness to my eyes. Sometimes my skin gets a little more splotchy. Sometimes other people feel like they get really puffy. Okay, well, when you're eating a diet that's always spiking your blood sugar, that's what your face looks like all the time. But even worse. Regulating your blood sugar sounds so intense and clinical, but really it's as simple as this. Sugar in processed foods is aging you. And if you're eating this way all the time, you will look different and probably not in the way that you want. The next habit that will glow you up real good is consistency over intensity. For everything. I get it. There's something that feels so productive and almost euphoric about going all in, with the crash diet or the intense fitness era or the 5 a.m. every single day phase. You do get a big dopamine hit from that. But what happens 3 months from then? You're probably right back where you started because the intensity didn't actually work for you. It wasn't actually sustainable. It didn't fit your lifestyle, and it especially didn't fit you in the 4 different phases of your menstrual cycle. Yes, intensity can feel exciting sometimes. There's a seductive quality to it, but consistency is the thing that will actually change your life, and it is the only thing that will actually bring you to your goals. Now, when I say consistency, I don't mean sameness. Okay, they are different. Often we think of consistency as like same workout, same effort, same output every single day. But that is the version of consistency that's actually setting you up to fail. That is not realistic, and honestly, that's not even optimal, especially as women who have menstrual cycles and our energy changes, our capacity changes. These things genuinely shift throughout the month. Consistency just means continuing to show up. And this is relevant for literally every single goal that you have. If you're trying to up your fitness game, some days might look like a hard, sweaty workout in the gym. Other days might be a long walk outside, and other days might be stretching while watching Gilmore Girls. That is consistency. And it's the same with eating healthy. It's the same with learning a new skill. It's the same in business. It's the same in taking care of your skin. It's the same with everything. We all know the power of compound interest. When you put your money into the the bank or an investment, right? If you keep doing that, it will grow into a huge money tree. Consistency is just never stopping and letting that effort compound. And the person who never stops always wins eventually. In the past, I always really struggled staying consistent with exercise. It felt really impossible to me, partly because I had some health issues and partly because I didn't know what I was doing or what I should be doing. And so I always had that start, stop kind of thing. But that has since changed since I started working with Jill, who is my personal trainer through Train Well, who is actually the sponsor of today's video. I've been working with Jill for almost 2 years now. She's wonderful, she's a gem, and I love her because she gives me instruction. You know, she just tells me what to do and how to do it. She gives me accountability, and on top of that, she helps me cycle sync my workouts. So every week, her workouts for me are not the same. In the follicular and ovulatory phases, it's usually using more weights and maybe getting a little sweatier, getting my heart rate up, a little more cardio. And then in the luteal and menstrual phases, it's a little bit more low impact, gentle workouts like mat Pilates and yoga and stretching. So yeah, it's been almost 2 years of working out consistently, which is a very, very big milestone for me because like I said, I've never done that before in my entire adult life. And even when I'm feeling burnt out, for example, I will tell her that and she will change the plan to make a workout that better fits my body that week and not just force sameness on me every single week. You guys know I've talked about Train Well a lot on this channel, and I've actually gotten several comments and DMs from you guys saying you've joined and you love it, which makes me very happy. So if you want to try it, just take the quiz linked in the description to get matched with your trainer. And through that link or my QR code, you can try it absolutely free for 14 days to see if you like it. So there's really nothing to lose. Now, continuing on with the fitness theme here. Okay, this one changed everything for me, and I don't think people are talking about it enough. I need you to understand the power of zone 2 cardio. This is where a lot of the body composition magic happens. So often people do cardio one of two ways. They're either going really, really hard and doing it really, really intensely where they're just like struggling to breathe, or they're going super duper light or maybe doing nothing at all. But zone 2 cardio is that sweet spot in the middle. Now, why is it so special? It's because when you are in this zone, that is when the body burns fat as its primary fuel source. AKA, this is the type of cardio that will burn fat the quickest and the most efficiently. So if that is your goal, which it might not be, but if it is, that type of cardio, zone 2 cardio, is what's gonna get you results. So what is zone 2 cardio specifically? Well, it's based off of your heart rate, but it's basically a low intensity cardio state where you still feel like you're working out, but also you can still have a conversation. For most people, zone 2 cardio looks like a brisk walk or a light bike ride or an easy jog. When you push your body to higher intensity levels, thinking, oh, if I just do more, if I work more, if I push harder, I'll get more snatched. No, once your heart rate gets past zone 2, then your body stops using fat as fuel and it starts using glucose as fuel. So it'll take all that sugar in your system and use that. Now, higher intensity cardio absolutely has its place. I mean, that's where real athleticism can be built, and that's where you're improving on like speed and power and cardiovascular performance. But if body composition and fat loss is your goal, zone 2 is actually where that happens. And most of us aren't training for a marathon, we just wanna look and feel good. So this is the tool that's most relevant for that and will get you the results you want. So let me tell you how to figure it out specifically for you. So zone 2 cardio is when you are at 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. And everyone's zone 2 sweet spot is different. So the way you calculate your zone 2 cardio is you take 220 minus your age, then multiply by 0.6 to 0.7 to find your specific heart rate range. Or you can just ask ChatGPT to do it. But so if you're 30 years old, you take 220 minus 30, which equals 190, and 60 to 70% of that is 114 to 133 BPM. So if you're 30 and you wanna focus on zone 2 cardio and fat loss is your goal, when you do cardio, your heart rate should stay between 114 and 133 BPM. It's very simple, and it isn't that high. I mean, I honestly get that just from briskly walking. I do personally have an Apple Watch that I wear. I only wear monitor when I work out just to track my heart rate. But if you don't have a heart rate monitor, you can just use the talk test. So basically, if you're working out and you feel like you're working out, but you can still manage and have a whole conversation, then you're usually in the zone 2 cardio sweet spot. But once you feel like you're starting to get like a little bit breathless and you can't hold the conversation, then you've usually gone too far. So if fat loss is a goal of yours, slowing down will usually get you the results that you want. And that is partly why hot girl walks are so gosh darn popular and so effective. Now, just because we're already talking about fat loss here, I just want to bring up something important. Our bodies are interesting, and our bodies are always trying to protect us. And sometimes, our body can store and keep fat as a weird little way to keep us safe and feeling safe emotionally. And until we can feel safe, we will keep using that extra weight as physical armor, so to say. Have you ever experienced this yourself? Or maybe you know someone where this happened to them, where they didn't eat any differently, didn't work out differently, didn't do anything different, but something shifts in their life. Like they leave a relationship, or they quit their job, or they move, or they work past something difficult in their life, or they finally deal with something they've been avoiding for years, and their body just changes. It releases weight that they've been holding for years without doing anything different. This is not uncommon. And I wanted to bring this up because sometimes the missing piece is not the food or the workouts, it's what's going on in your soul. This is a thing in somatic therapy. The idea that unprocessed emotional experiences and stress and trauma and things we haven't felt safe enough to deal with yet, they live in the body as tension, as inflammation, and as extra weight. And it'll hold on to that until you feel safe enough to let it go. And really until your nervous system can actually relax. Your body doesn't care about, oh yeah, let's get this girl snatched. Your body cares about, let's get this girl safe. Let's keep her alive. And of course, we can back this up by science. When your body is under chronic stress, your cortisol levels stay elevated because that cortisol is meant to keep you alert and ready to respond to danger. But cortisol is a fat storage hormone. It literally signals to your body to hold on to fat, particularly around the midsection. That's why you let go of someone toxic and oh my God, all of a sudden I'm less puffy. I know sometimes when it comes to a physical glow up, we think a lot about the physical, practical things like our diet and our fitness and our sleep and supplements. But the inner work and that inner healing can often be the most powerful glow up tool. When your body feels safe to relax, safe to let go, for a lot of women, that will be the missing piece that fixes everything else. If this is something you struggle with, I have an affirmation and subliminal track to help you regulate your nervous system and feel more like a relaxed woman. It's free. I'll link it down below so you can listen. It really does help. Next, if you truly want to glow up and level up your life, and I really mean that, this isn't for the half committed. There comes a point where you sometimes sort of have to brainwash yourself into a new self-image. And I mean that literally. Most of us don't actually have the self-concept that we need to get to where we want to go. And your self-concept, your self-image, your identity, whatever you want to call it, it will determine every result you get in your life. I want you to understand something. You will never consistently outperform your self-image. Ever. You can force it for a little while. The new diet, the new routine, the new era. But if the image underneath hasn't changed, you will always snap back to who you see yourself as deep down. I'll take a little silly example, okay? If you always see yourself as someone who is disorganized, even when you go and buy a new planner and do all the things and swear that this time's different, you will find a way to be disorganized because it's what your subconscious knows and sees you as. Or a bigger example, a personal example. I used to be really unhealthy and have really unhealthy habits. And that's just the way that I saw myself too. Like I just saw myself as an unhealthy person. I lived an unhealthy lifestyle. And not surprisingly, I developed some pretty bad health issues and an autoimmune disorder. And I was just so miserable and wanted so desperately to feel healthy and to fix my problems that I got to this point of desperation where I was like, this has to change. I have to change. And out of that desperation, I brainwashed myself into a better self-image, that I was a healthy person, that I enjoyed living a healthy lifestyle, that that's just who I am. Now, I didn't expect all of my health problems to go away overnight, but whoever you see yourself as, your behavior will follow. And that was the absolute biggest turning point in my life, not the habit shift, but the identity shift, because everything followed after that. Whoever you want to be, whatever you want to accomplish, your self-image has to match that. Okay, so whenever you notice a disconnect, well, a little healthy brainwashing might have to be done to fix it. Brainwashing might sound a little intense, but I do want you to realize that you're already being brainwashed all the time by your past experiences, by your parents, for better or for worse, by your failures, by other people's opinions of you. But here you're just choosing to do it intentionally instead. That's what brainwashing yourself actually means. It's a deliberate, repetitive programming. You decide who she is, and then you feed that image to yourself over and over and over until your subconscious starts to accept it as true, until it just starts feeling like you. So the question you're probably thinking is, well, how do I do that? Well, if you want the full detailed Jillz answer, that'll take its own 30-minute video. But if you want a quick answer, there is no right way to do it, but it starts with deciding who you are now and who you are not, and feeding that image to yourself over and over again, connecting to it emotionally, okay? Feeling what it feels like to be her, not just thinking about it, feeling the embodiment of that, acting from the embodiment of that until it feels natural. Now, just to be clear, you are not brainwashing yourself to become someone else. That is the wrong mentality. And if that's the way that you think, then this is really never gonna work for you. And most importantly, it's never gonna feel good. You are just simply leveling up your self-image closer to how you were divinely created. You are just connecting to your higher self. And that right there is often the reframe people need to start thinking differently. Let's switch to something much more simple now, okay? One of the littlest changes that I've made that can totally elevate your day and therefore your life is waking up and reading a few pages of a book before looking at your phone, before jumping out of bed, before the day starts. I'm not saying read for like 45 minutes, okay? I'm saying read for 2 to 5 minutes. Start your day with something good for the brain. When you wake up, your brain is in a more open, suggestible state, because in that waking up period, your brain is in the alpha wave state, which is basically the brain state you're in when you're deep in meditation. And during this time, you're literally more open to suggestion and you're more likely to absorb and internalize what you consume. And because of that, this is also the time of day that is considered most potent for setting intentions and manifesting, because you're programming your subconscious mind to look for and attract what you've been thinking about. Most of us are handing that window of time to our phones or to our email or to the news, or we're automatically in a rush and we wonder why we feel so anxious and scattered all day. But instead, if you just read something that makes you think, that makes you feel good, that sets you up for a positive mindset, or helps you see the world differently or think differently, you carry that into your day. And it's a very small thing that has massive compounding effects. So for this period of time, just keep it light and digestible and positive. So here are my best book recs for specifically that 2 to 5 minute morning reading window. The Creative Act, I'm reading it right now. Each paragraph is like 3 pages, it's perfect. Or books like The Daily Stoic, The Pivot Year, or 101 Essays That'll Change the Way You Think. All of these are great. These books are all built for reading 1 to a few pages at a time, so it's perfect for that morning window, and just try it. Try it for like a month and tell me that your life isn't better. The last hot girl habit is eating until you're satisfied, not totally stuffed. Here's the thing with this. Most of us were never really taught to stop eating when we're satisfied, and instead we were taught to clean our entire plate, get every last bite, to eat while we can, to not waste food. But what's often underneath this type of eating, like always eating until you're really, really full, is a scarcity mindset. And if heaven forbid your ancestors actually lived through real scarcity or like famine, not knowing where your next meal is gonna come from, that gets coded into your DNA. Your body learned eat when food is available because it might not be available later. And for many years, that may have really, really helped your lineage and kept your lineage alive. But most of us now are not in famine. The food is not going anywhere, yet we're still eating like it is. And of course, I'm not saying that you can't indulge and enjoy your food I love food, but unless you're trying to intentionally gain weight, which some people are, I just want to point that out, this habit of stuffing yourself at every meal is not going to lead to your best hot girl life. It makes you more bloated and sluggish and obviously leads to weight gain over time. What I'm saying is, what if you ate from an abundant place? When we think of an abundance mindset, we're often thinking about opportunities and money and this kind of stuff. But what if we kept that same abundance mindset with food? Meaning there's more where this came from. I get to eat what feels good to me, and there's always going to be more later. I can save the rest for later. To trust you don't need to consume everything right now. To leave a few bites behind and not think, oh my God, but I'm gonna be missing out. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And the woman who can comfortably leave a few bites of her food on her plate, she trusts that there is enough. And that abundance mindset doesn't just stay like at the dinner table. It also translates to everything else in her life. It bleeds into how she approaches money and relationships and opportunities. What I'm saying is that whether you have an abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset, it'll often show up in the way you eat. That is it. But before I go, if you've been thinking about stepping up your fitness game, I really do recommend Train Well. You can take the link in the description to get matched with your personal trainer or use the QR code right here. And you can try it completely free for 14 days. So let me know how you like it. Now, if you truly want to level up though, I'm gonna need you to watch this video, The Psychology of Being Hot. It is a popular video of mine for good reason, and I think you're gonna like it, and it's probably something that you need to hear. So I'll see you over there. Bye.